4K.
Okay, I'm gonna approach my bus. I'm gonna make sure my DMV sticker is visible and it should be up to date. The bus is not leaning to the left or to the right, indicating a suspension problem or a flat tire, and nothing leaking or hanging under the bus. Now I'm gonna open my hood. I'm gonna hit the latch on both sides. Latch on that side. Open the hood. Come into my driver's side first. And I'm gonna check all my fluids. My brake fluid is capped. My coolant cap, power steering cap, they're properly filled, all three, and they're not leaking. I'm gonna check my hoses and my wires and make sure there's no chafing or no cut wires, no hoses. Appears that nothing is leaking or broken. I'm gonna check my motor dipstick, transmission dipsticks, make sure they're in place and they're not leaking. And that's how I would check my levels if need be. My steering rod, steering box, pitman arm, drag link with the 2 crown nuts and cotter pins, my leaf springs with the U-bolt and bracket, my frame, my shock absorber, brake line, and caliper are not cracked, broken, and it appears that nothing is leaking, and my frame is not cracked or welded. Heading to my tire, looking in the inside tire wall, outside tire wall, there's no cuts, no bubbles, abrasions, no less than 432 on the front tires, and re-grooves or recaps are not allowed, or re-threading. My rim in one piece, no crack, no welding. My lug nuts are all tight, no rust, no shine. Hub seal is not cracked or leaking. Valve stem is properly capped. If I had to, I would check my tire pressure with a tire gauge. I'm gonna kick my tire. It looks like it's properly inflated. Mud flap is secured to the bus. Now we head into the passenger side or door side. My intake manifold is secured to the bus. Alternator is secured to the belts. Bus belt driven. No more than 1/4 play on the belt. My fan spins freely. My water pump is not leaking. There's no wet spots on the ground. I'm checking my windshield washer fluid. It's capped. It's properly filled. No leaks. My frame, again, no crack, no welds. My leaf springs with the U-bolts, shock absorber, brake line, and caliper. It's not cracked, broken, or leaking. Nothing's missing. Appears that nothing is missing. My inside, outside tire wall. Again, no cuts, bubbles, abrasions. No less than 432s on front tires. Recaps are not allowed. My rim in one piece, no crack, no welding. My lug nuts are all tight, no rust, no shine, indicating that one might be loose. Valve stem is properly capped. If I had to, I'll check tire pressure with a tire gauge. And my hub seal is not cracked or leaking. Kick my tire. And my mud flap is secured to the bus. Close my hood. My door. My door open and closes freely. My glass, it's not cracked or broken. My seals are in place and in good condition. My white lines are visible. There's no debris in my stairwell. I'm checking my handles. My handrails are secured to the bus. On my way up, I'm checking my safety equipment. My fire extinguisher is secured to the bus. Pin in place. Arrows in the green means it's fully charged. I'm checking my reflective triangles. Make sure there's 3. And no sand in the bottom, indicating that one might be broken. 3, no sand. Beautiful. Now, head bumper secured to the bus. Hitting my latch. I'm gonna make sure my first aid kit and my spill cleaner kit are secured to the bus. My first aid kit should have at least 9 items. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. My fans are secured to the bus. Passenger mirror, visor, all secure. My windshield is not cracked or broken. Seal around the windshield is in good condition. My camera and my radio are secured to the bus. I'm gonna check my registration and my insurance, make sure it's up to date, and the VIN matches my bus. Don't expire till 8/31/22. I'm looking for the last four of the VIN, 9419. 9419 matches my bus. So that's all set. I'm gonna check my DVIR book, check the previous 3 days to make sure there's no defects. And if there is any defects, it should be signed off by a supervisor or the mechanic. No defects reported. So I'm all set. Now I'm gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down. Sit down. I'm gonna close my door. I'm gonna put my seatbelt on. Adjust my seat. And make sure the mirrors are adjusted to me, and they are. Now I can get started on my brake test. The first thing I'm gonna do is to make sure my parking brake's all the way down. And it is. I'm gonna press my service brake to listen for my backup hydraulic motor. I can hear the winding noise is working properly. Now I'm gonna put my key to the on position, checking for my ABS light and my check engine lights to come on and come off. ABS lights came on and come on, and came on and came off. So those are working properly. And my check engine light came on and came off. So that's also working properly. Now I'm gonna put my bus into drive. I'm gonna try to start the bus, and it shouldn't start. That means my neutral safety switch is working properly. I'm gonna put it back in neutral and start the bus. Now that the bus is on, I don't hear any unusual noises coming from the engine. Now I'm gonna pump my service brake 3 times and hold for 5 seconds. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I did not lose any brake pressure. I don't feel any kickback. Now I'm gonna place my bus into the lowest gear. I'm gonna rev my engine to 11,000 RPMs. 11,000 RPMs, and the bus did not move. That means my parking brake is working properly. Now I'm gonna go through all my gears to make sure I don't hear any unusual knocking or noises from the transmission, and it goes into every gear. Second, fourth, drive, neutral, reverse. I can hear my reverse alarm. Everything sounds good with the transmission. Now I'm gonna put my bus in drive. I'm gonna release my parking brake. I'm gonna check all my zones to make sure they're clear and it's safe. And I'm gonna go forward 6 to 8 feet to make sure the bus isn't pulled to the left or to the right and stop smooth. Bus stop smooth. Didn't pull to the left or to the right. I'm gonna do the same thing in reverse. I'm placing it in reverse, checking my zones on my left and on my right hand side, making sure everything is clear. And I'm gonna beat my horn twice. Bus did not pull to the left or to the right in reverse, placing my bus back into neutral, applying the parking brake. And that is the brake test. Now I'm gonna go to all my switches. Master switch is on. It's indicated with the red light on the button. I'm gonna turn on my ambers. Ambers are working in my crossover mirrors, on my dash, working on my Elmo. I'm going to my second roll of switches. My driver's dome light is working properly. My passenger dome lights are all working properly. I'm gonna hit my booster pump. I can kind of hear the whining noise, and it's indicated with the red light on the button. My mirror heater's working, indicated with the red light on the button. We're skipping the door. My rear heater on high, I can hear it. On low, working properly. Step well heater on high, low, working properly. Driver's defroster, again on high, low, working properly. I'm hitting both of my fans. Fans on high, both fans on low. Both fans are working properly. I'm gonna go from the fans to the headlights. Headlights are working properly. I can see it light up in my crossover mirrors. Dash lights up. I'm gonna hit my high beams. You can flick them a couple times. I can see that the high beams are working in my crossover mirrors indicated on the dash. Now with my hand being here, I'm gonna do my windshield wipers. Windshield wipers are working properly, touching the glass, and windshield wiper fluid is working. My left signal light is working properly. I can see it in my crossover mirror, on my dash, on my Elmo. Right signal light, I can see it in my crossover mirror, my dash, and on my Elmo. I'm gonna turn on my hazard lights. Hazard lights are working. I can see them in the crossover mirrors, on my dash, and on my Elmo. I'm gonna go to all my gauges. Water temperature no higher than 210, so no more than 210. Water oil pressure should be between 40 and 80. Never leave the yard with less than half a tank. And battery voltage is between 12 and 14. And I have no more than 2-inch plate on a 20-inch wheel. Now I'm getting ready to do my heat cab inspection. I'm working my way from top to bottom. So my ceiling panels are all in place. Here's that no screws are missing and no panels are hanging. My 7 emergency exits are all properly labeled and visible. My window stoppers on my left and on my right hand side are in place. My aisle is clear of debris and my rubber mat's not torn and there's no trip hazards. I'm gonna go through the bus, checking the bottom of the seats, making sure they're secure, and I'm gonna open each emergency exit with my weakest hand. Secure, 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 secure. Open the ceiling hatch, beep. You know what, open it just for good. Push up first, put 2 exit, arrow 2 exit. I like to hit it with the palm of my hand on the side. Open freely, I can hear my alarm, put it back on the track. I would open this one. Beep. Open freely, I can hear the alarm. Beep. Open freely, I can hear the alarm. Checking the bottom of the seat. This shit is secure. Secure, secure, secure. Now that I reached the back of the bus, my head bumper is secured to the bus. My emergency exit light is working properly. My glass is not cracked or broken, and seal around the glass is in good condition. I'm gonna open my emergency exit and I'm gonna look for my ambers and my hazards to make sure they're properly working and I can hear my alarm. So my ambers and my hazards are properly working and I heard the alarm. Now on the way down, I'm checking the back of the seats to make sure there's no vandalism on the back of the seats, no cuts, no graffiti. They're secured to the bus. My window stoppers, my left and my hand side are in place. Secure, 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 secure. Now that I reached the front of the bus, hazards off, left signal on, and I'm gonna let the instructor know for the purpose of the test, I'm gonna leave the bus running. Otherwise, I will secure the bus, take the key with me and DVR a book and bring it back into the base. I'm gonna open my door. On the way down, my step light is working properly. It's not cracked or broken, secured to the bus. On my way out, caution gate is working properly. Fully extended. Now I'm stuck from top, working my way down to the bottom. My 3 clearance lights are working properly and SOS lights are working properly. I have no cracked lenses and everything's in place. My school bus is visible. My hood, my grill, my bumper, and my license plate are secured to the bus. My crossover mirrors and brackets are secured to the bus, not cracked or broken, and my high beams are working properly on my headlights, and they're not cracked or broken, and my left turn signal is working properly. Now that the bus is on, there's nothing leaking or hanging under the bus. Now I'm working my way. Right side, left side. My footstep and my handles are secured to the bus. My My mirrors and brackets are secured to the bus and not cracked or broken. Checking my fuse box. And this is where my spare fuses are located. Making sure there's no cut wires, there's no corrosion, everything looks good. My battery box is properly labeled. Open it up. It's secured to the bus. Top of the batteries, there's no corrosion, nothing's leaking. My stop sign is fully deployed, working properly, and my red lights on both sides, it's not cracked or broken, and working properly and secure. Now I'm stepping back, starting from top to bottom. My 3 clearance lights, 1, 2, and 3, are working properly. They're in place, and they're not cracked or broken. My emergency exits are properly labeled and reflective tape around them. My company name, DOT number, company telephone number are all visible. My 3 reflective stickers are all in place. And my left signal light is secured to the bus, not cracked or broken. Now I'm going under the bus and I'm checking for my transmission. Transmission in the front, that big silver box. My drive shaft connected with my universal joints and my rear differential. It's not cracked, broken, and leaking. And nothing in between my tires. My dual tire, working my way back to the back tire. And my leaf springs and brackets are in place. There's nothing in between my tires up top. Tire depth no less than 232. Recaps are allowed. My outside tire wall, no cuts, bubbles, abrasions. My rim in one piece, no crack, no welds. All my lug nuts are tight. No rust, no shine. My valve steps, 2 tires, 2 valve stems are properly capped. If I had to, I would check my tire pressure with the tire gauge. Kicking both tires. They're properly inflated, and my mud flap is secured to the bus, and axle seal is not leaking or cracked. Now, back of the bus. Again, I'll start from top, working my way down. My 3 clearance lights and SOS lights are working properly. They're not cracked or broken in place. My school bus is visible. Emergency exit is properly labeled, have reflective tape around them. My left signal light is working properly. All my lenses in the back of the bus are not cracked or broken, and my tail lights are working properly. I will check my brake lights and my reverse lights with the help of a coworker or reflection of a building. My license plate light is working properly. My bus number light working properly. I have 2 reflective stickers, 1 and 2 are in place. My bumper is secured to the bus. Exhaust no more than 2 inches from the bumper. Now I'm gonna open my emergency exit to make sure I can hear the alarm from the outside. And it locks into place, and there's nothing in between my heaters. My rubber seals are in good condition. There's no rough edges around the door. So, door locks into place, and it does. My rubber seal is in good condition. Nothing in between my heaters. No rough edges. Everything looks good. I can hear my alarm. Now, checking under for my fuel tank and fuel cage to make sure there's nothing cracked or broken. There's nothing leaking. Everything appears to be good. Now I'm gonna go inside my bus. I'm gonna turn off my high beams, turn on my low beams, and turn on my right signal light. So high beams off, right signal light on. Now I'm going back to the back of the bus. Signal light is working properly in the back of the bus. Now working my way down. If the inspector stops you at this moment and asks you what is different on this side, it's your diesel, your DEF, and your exhaust pipe. But if he wants you to continue, you're gonna continue. So first thing I'm gonna check is my diesel. I'm gonna make sure it's properly capped, and it is. No wet spots on the ground, it's not leaking. Back again to my rear tire from the inside out. My leaf springs and brackets are in place. Nothing in between my tires up top. No less than 232s. Recaps are allowed on back tires. Outside tire wall, again, no cuts, bubbles, abrasions. Rim in one piece, no crack, no welding. All my lug nuts are tight, no rust, no shine. Axle seal's not leaking. I got 2 tires, 2 valve stems are properly capped. If I had to, I'll check tire pressure with a tire gauge, kick both tires. Mud flap is secured to the bus. Working my way back. Starting from top to bottom again. 3 clearance lights are working properly. They're in place. They're not cracked or broken. My emergency exits are properly labeled and visible. Reflective tape around them. Company name, DOT number, company telephone number are all visible. My 3 reflective stickers, 1, 2, and 3, are all in place. I'm checking my exhaust pipe on this side, making sure it's not cracked or leaking. And my brackets are in place. Not cracked or leaking, good. Right signal light is working properly, secured to the bus. It's not cracked or broken. My DEF is properly capped. No wet spots, it's not leaking. My no standees and my bus capacity are all visible, and my bus number on this side is visible. And again, my footstep and my handle are secure. My mirrors and brackets are secure. They're not cracked or broken. I'm gonna end my pre-trip in front of the bus with my low beams are working properly and my right signal light working properly. So first thing I'm gonna do is a pickup. So I'm picking up 3 students on my left-hand side. First thing I'm gonna do is 100 feet from the students, I'm activating my ambers. I'm gonna make sure the ambers are working in my crossover mirrors and on my Elmo. I'm gonna make sure traffic is slowing down with me. I'm counting my students as I approach. 1, 2, 3. When I reach 10 feet from the students, 2 feet from the curb, I'm coming to a complete stop. Activating my SOS lights, making sure they're working in my crossover mirror and on my Elmo. Stop signs deployed, all traffic is stopped. I'm placing my bus in the neutral, applying the parking brake, hand on the horn, foot on the brake, and when it's safe, I'm gonna signal my kids to cross, counting them as they cross in front of the bus. 1, 2, 3. When the first student reaches my right crossover mirror, I'm gonna open my door, counting them as they enter the bus. 1, 2, 3. When the last student reaches the top step, I'm gonna close my door. I'm gonna make sure my SOS lights are still on, traffic is still stopped. Well, stop signs deployed, traffic is still stopped. I'm gonna make sure my students are seated and I have no latecomers, no hazards, no stragglers. Now I'm gonna get the bus ready to go. I'm gonna turn on my left turn signal. I'm gonna put the bus in drive. I'm gonna release my parking brake. And again, I'm checking for any latecomers, any hazards, any stragglers. All my students are seated, all my zones are clear. I'm gonna turn off my SOS lights and start that 5-second crawl. Starting with the right crossover mirror. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ending in the left west coast mirror. Merge into traffic. Turn off left turn signal. You want me to do pickup too? Pickup. All right. So, the drop off. So now, doing a drop off. 100 feet from the drop off. I'm activating my SOS lights, making sure they're working in my crossover mirrors and on my Elmo. I'm making sure traffic is slowing down with me, and I'm gonna come to a complete stop. 10 feet from the stop, 2 feet from the curb. Activating my SOS lights, making sure they're working in my crossover mirrors and on my Elmo. Stop sign deployed, all traffic is stopped. I'm placing my bus into neutral, apply the parking brake, hand on the horn, foot on the brake. And when the first student reaches my shoulder or the front of the bus, I'm gonna let the student know, all the students know, never cross behind the bus, at least 10 feet in front of the bus, and wait for my signal to cross. And it's clear, I'm gonna let them off. Count them as they exit. 1, 2, 3. When the last student reaches the bottom step and clear of the door, I'm gonna close the door. I'm gonna make sure my SOS lights are still on, stop sign still deployed, all traffic is still stopped. And when it is safe, I'm gonna signal those kids to cross, count them as they cross in front of my bus. 1, 2, 3. When the last student reaches the curb, I'm gonna count for the last time. 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna make sure all my students are seated and I have no students returning to the bus. I'm getting the bus ready to go. I'm gonna put it in drive. I'm gonna turn on my left turn signal. I'm gonna release my parking brake, and again, I'm gonna make sure all students are seated and I have nobody returning back to the bus. All my zones are still clear. Turning off my SOS light, starting that 5-second crawl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ending in my left west coast mirror, merge into traffic when it's safe, turn off left turn signal. 200 feet from a railroad crossing, I'm activating my hazards, I'm turning off my masters, I'm gonna request silence please, turning off all noisemakers. When I reach 15 to 50 feet from the railroad crossing, I'm gonna come to a complete stop, 15 to 50 feet, slightly to the right, placing my bus in the neutral, opening my door, or window and doors. I'm gonna look and listen to the left, I'm gonna look and listen to the right, make sure there's no gates, bells, whistles, no flash of lights, single or multiple tracks are clear, and I have a 2-bus clearance on the other side of the tracks. Now, I'm putting my bus in the lowest gear, and again, I'm gonna look and listen to the left, I'm gonna look and listen to the right, no gates, bells, whistles, no flashing lights, and I still have a 2-bus clearance on the other side of the tracks. I'm gonna close my door, I'm gonna make sure there's no cars trying to go around me, and I'm gonna go over the tracks quickly and safely as possible. When the rear of the bus passes the last track, I'm gonna put it back into drive, turning off my hazards and turning back on my master switch. All right, Reese, you ready?